Hello, everybody, and happy Thanksgiving, and welcome to the Bob Stoops app. I'm Brad McMullen, along with Hall of Fame football coach Bob Stoops. Coach, happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, thank you, Brad, and happy Thanksgiving to everybody out there. I think this is the best weekend of the year. You know, you don't have to worry about presents. You got food all weekend. You got leftovers all weekend. You have football Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So I love it. So looking forward to the weekend, and happy Thanksgiving to everybody.
Yeah, fellowship, food, and football. Can't
Absolutely.
get any better than that. All right, let's talk about the big games. The final game of the year at home for the Oklahoma Sooners, and it's a special one. It is senior day at Owen Field in Norman. The last time this guy's son, Drake Stoops, will take the field as a Sooner player. Got to be excited about this one.
Yeah, I am. We're not much on just focusing on us or just Drake or my whatever, but I'm excited he's been able to have the experience he's been able to have. Just being on the field, being competitive, it grows you as a man, as a young man, to be in these tough situations. And, the fellowship, the friendships, the bond between teammates never leaves you. Some of my best friends today are teammates of mine that I keep up with, and we get together, and so he'll always have that. And so I'm just I'm appreciative of the experience he's had, and look forward to this last game, hopefully being a special day for not only Drake but everybody. That hopefully we can go out in a big way and win our 10th game of the year.
Amen. And Drake's getting a lot of national attention because he's not just leading the University of Oklahoma in receptions, he's leading the Big 12 Conference in receptions. And when you hear people compliment your son about the way he is as a leader, the way he works as a player, that's got to make you proud.
It does. Just the young man he's become as a leader, as an individual, and about all the right things. So I am proud of him, of course, and he's had a great career, and it's finishing in a great way. So hopefully tomorrow will be another big day.
Now there's a big question mark on who's going to be throwing him the football. Will it be Dillon Gabriel, who has been lights out this year but had an injury last week against BYU, or the talented true freshman Jackson Arnold, the National High School Player of the Year according to Gatorade? I mean, it's two good options for you if you're Oklahoma.
It is. You can't beat the experience, though, of Dillon Gabriel. So hopefully he's healed up and prepared to play and ready to play. And if he's not, Jackson Arnold came in last week away from home, second half, and had a great game, in my opinion, as a young guy with all that pressure on him, and changed some plays, made some great throws, made some great runs.
Yes.
If that's what needs to happen, it'll happen, and I really believe either way we'll be a strong team, come Saturday.
How is the team injury-wise? I know 12 games in, you're going to have some people banged up. You're not going to have your full roster out there. How do you think the Sooners are going into the game health-wise?
I think overall pretty well. Dillon's a big deal. All that experience matters. So that'll be the key deal. But if not, I believe this will be a launching board, for Jackson Arnold to show what he's capable of and show his poise and his talent. And so we'll see what happens. But I think we're in good shape overall.
Yeah, it's going to be a great game. Obviously, TCU's coming to town as a 9-point underdog. Last year, TCU won big, and Dillon Gabriel did not get a chance to play in the second half of that game. Again, could potentially be Dillon Gabriel's final game at Owen Field. A lot of emotion, a lot of excitement. What do you see is the key to victory for the Sooners in this game?
Always playing a clean game, and a clean game is not having pre-snap, post-snap penalties. Those simple penalties you can avoid, and taking care of the football. When we've won through the year, we've been on the plus side of the turnover margin, and when we've lost, we haven't been. And in my opinion, those are always the big keys. And then third and fourth downs are a little bit like turnovers because you have to convert them.
Yep.
And in my opinion, that'll be key as well.
And once again, in the victory last week, the defense came up with a big play, that 100-yard return for a touchdown. as a defensive coach, you got to be really happy to see that.
Absolutely. Billy Bowman's been incredible all year. So good for him, and what a play that
Awesome.
changed the game
Awesome.
last week, and you know, and he had the guts to jump in front of it and make the play, you know. So good for him, and but no, these turnovers change games, and to me that'll be a big key in this game.
On this Thanksgiving, have to ask you the question: you like the Sooners
Absolutely.
against TCU at home?
Come on, Brad. Everybody knows I always take the Sooners, so
Amen.
I don't care how many points.
Amen.
I'm always going to take them. So absolutely.
I love Oklahoma in this game. All right, let's talk about some other games of interest this week. The Egg Bowl tonight here on Thursday. You got Ole Miss taking on Mississippi State. Mississippi State looking for a new football coach, looking for some direction. Expectations, Will Rogers is going to take the snaps, a very talented quarterback for Mississippi State. Ole Miss favored by 10 points in this rivalry game.
Yeah, I just think with the change of coaches, that matters. And Ole Miss has been rolling. Lane Kiffin's got them really going. Where's the game at?
It's going to be at Mississippi State. So the cowbells are going to be ringing loud.
All right. And Will Rogers is playing.
Potentially, yeah.
Then if Will Rogers is playing, I'm going to take them with the points.
I
but
like
I think
that.
Ole Miss is still going to win.
Yeah, I agree with this guy. I like that. I just think the home crowd's going to keep them in. This is going to be their Super Bowl because they're done after this game. Mississippi State won't have another game the rest of the year. A lot of seniors on that team, I think, that want to go out with a big win and show some momentum. But I think Ole Miss is just a better football team. I think they've had a great year. They've had two really difficult games, though, right? When we're talking about the difficult game being Georgia and Alabama, but those are two really good football teams.
Very good football teams. So, but Lane Kiffin and their staff, they've done a great job this year. No question.
All right, the game. That's right, the game. We're talking about Ohio State and Michigan. All eyes are going to be watching this on Saturday, a monster game. No Jim Harbaugh on the sidelines for the Michigan Wolverines. Michigan still favored by 3.5 against undefeated Ohio State.
At Michigan, though, right?
At Michigan, yes, sir.
I'm going to go out on a limb, and I don't think they can beat Ohio State 3 straight years. I'm going to go with Ohio State. And I know that's, Michigan's strong, but, you know, maybe without Jim Harbaugh there and maybe some of this is all caught up to them, I'm going to go with Ohio State. I don't think it's easy to beat Ohio State 3 straight years.
Yeah, and a 3.5-point spread is a lot in this game. I know it seems like a little, but it's a lot in this one. I love that pick. I think Ohio State is a better team in a lot of different aspects. I think they're a little better tested this year with the games that they've already had to play. And most importantly, they're going to have their head coach on the sidelines. And it is no offense to any of the assistant coaches from Michigan. That matters. You want to have the captain on that sideline.
Yeah, and I think they have something to prove. Haven't lost 2 straight years to them. They'll be ready. And Sharon Moore, the head coach, who's
played for you,
played for us here at OU. Their O-line coach and their acting or interim head coach while Jim Harbaugh's off the sideline. Always for him, you know, wonderful man, young guy, and doing great, you know, having a great career coaching. So I'm not rooting against him, but I just believe it's too difficult to beat Ohio State 3 straight years.
Yeah, and this guy also grew up in Ohio way long ago, right? So there may be some intertwine. All right, one team he is going to be rooting hard for is the Iowa Hawkeyes, as they're going to be taking on Nebraska in Nebraska. Nebraska only favored by 2.5 points in this one. You see Iowa getting one?
I don't see Nebraska maybe even scoring. You know, that's just how good Iowa's defense is. Phil Parker, their D coordinator, does an amazing job. And if I'm a bettor out there, take the under. Because normally Iowa wins
9-3.
13-10 or whatever it is, or 13-6. They're just so hard to score on. I mean, they're incredible defensively, and so anyway, I would stay with that. I see Iowa winning a low-scoring, close game, and what's the point spread?
2.5 points. Nebraska's favored.
I see Iowa winning by 3.
I do too. You've got a ranked Iowa team that has played sound football. They've had 2 bad games, really, just 2 bad games all year. I just think they're a better football team. And when you say this, if you can't score, you've got some good things going for you.
Right.
I like Iowa in this game.
They don't mind going on the road. They've been all over the place. So anyway, I see them winning a tight game, winning by a couple 3 points, and Nebraska not scoring very much.
Yeah. All right, a game that really excites me. I think this is going to be fun. Oregon State.
Great
Oregon
game.
State has been awesome the last few weeks, right? I mean, they have been playing lights out. They're traveling to Oregon. Oregon, though, favored by 14 points in this game. That's a big spread for this rivalry game.
I don't see that. Oregon State has been too good, meaning I think Washington, who beat Oregon, is a heck of a team.
Yep.
And they took Washington to the wire by 2 points.
Yes.
So I see this being a close game. I believe Oregon will win, but I believe it'll be a tight, well-played game. Oregon State's been too good all year to all of a sudden go there and lay an egg. That's not going to happen.
And this is their biggest game of the year. They've circled this one all year. I think this game's going to be very similar to that first Oregon-Washington game. Just really close all the way through to
Back
the very
and forth.
end. And I'm going with the home team. I think Oregon is going to win, but I don't see a 14.5 point spread there.
I don't either. Oregon State's been too good all year for that to happen.
All right, Missouri is going to be playing Arkansas on the road. It'll be senior day in Fayetteville. Arkansas, an underdog by 9 points in this one. It has not been the Razorback season, though.
No, and Missouri's been really good. They've been hot. You got to give it to them. They're really playing well. So I would say it'll be closer than that, but I still believe Missouri will win.
Yeah, I think Missouri's going to win. I think they're a much, much better football team.
Right.
All right, talk about the Texas Longhorns. If you're a Sooner fan, you want to see Texas lose every weekend, not just this weekend, but they're playing Texas Tech, and this would be a really good loss if you're Longhorns. If you want to lose one for us, this is the week. Texas favored by 13 points at home against Texas Tech. And Tech was that team, I want to say it, the real attractive team at the beginning of the year,
right.
Top 15, top 10 in some polls, but they haven't had a good year. They haven't been very consistent. They had a lot of people get hurt, but now they're getting healthy. Now they're getting healthy towards the end of the year. This is their Super Bowl, if you will.
Well, and I'm going to take Texas Tech. I mean, we need them to win. So you got to go with them, right? So I'm going to go with Tech to really hit it big and have one of those games that just maybe defies some of the odds and gets it done.
Yeah, and you know the Big 12 commissioner is rooting hard for Tech. He said it in the preseason. He was going to root hard for Tech on Thanksgiving weekend. So here you go. Come on, Tech. You can beat Texas. All right, some other games of interest out there. This guy's going to be interested in this one. Kentucky and Louisville, another rivalry game. Two Stoops brothers are going to be the sidelines for the Kentucky Wildcats. Kentucky an underdog by 7 on the road at Louisville.
Yeah, I'm taking Kentucky, of course. I got to go with my brothers Mark and Mike, and they play a stronger schedule throughout the year, and hopefully that'll show up, on Saturday, and they'll play a great game. And although, I mean, you got to give it, Louisville's played really well through the year. They've won a lot of strong, good games, but Kentucky will catch it right and beat them.
Yeah, I think the schedule of Kentucky is going to prove the difference maker in this game. I don't know if they're going to win it outright, but I think they're going to keep it under that 7 points. Well, another team that doesn't have a coach that's playing in this one is Texas A&M. As they're going to be traveling to Baton Rouge, to Death Valley. LSU favored by 12 points. A lot of points in this game. But Texas A&M, another team, a lot of expectations in the preseason. They just did not live up to the billing.
Yeah, and I think that'll show up at the end. The last game at LSU, they played so well. I just think it'll matter not having a head coach there.
I agree.
And I just think that's deflating. And believe LSU will come through on this and cover.
Yeah, and you've got a lot of the rumors swirling around about players potentially wanting to leave for the draft earlier or transfer. That's in the back of the mind instead of maybe all focused in on this game.
All that adds up at the end of the year, and you don't have a head coach, so I think that'll matter.
I agree with you. All right, Auburn, Alabama, the Iron Bowl. This game's going to be a lot of fun. Auburn, an underdog by 14 points at home. And this is one of those things where I look at that and I go, I think Alabama's going to do well on a 14-point spread because Auburn hasn't been very good this year, But this is that rivalry game that you just never know what's going to happen, especially being in Auburn.
Yeah, but
Alabama's just a better team.
And Auburn just got beat by
Yeah.
who was someone last week that everyone's scratching their head and got beat bad. So something has to be wrong there at Auburn, and Alabama has gotten steadily better through the year. So I'm taking Alabama to win big, and they got something to prove after losing to Texas early in the year, and obviously Auburn has to have some problems.
Yeah. In the last 4 weeks, you can almost rewind the tape and watch it. I've said I love Alabama in this game because of that.
Right.
I think they're getting a lot better, and I also feel that Coach Saban has a good memory and always wants to give some payback every once in a while. And if they've got an opportunity to get up on a rival like Auburn,
right,
they're going to do it. And Hugh Freeze, I think, is a great football coach. He just does not have the horses in the stable. This is not a talented, deep team at Auburn. They're first, they're starting 11 on offense. They're good, but they're just not as deep as Alabama.
Apparently, again, just losing to a small school a week ago and losing badly, that matters.
Yeah.
New Mexico or
New Mexico State.
Yeah,
New Mexico State. So we want to thank our producer for that. Good job there. All right, BYU at Oklahoma State. Come on, Cougars. You've got this one, Cougars. I believe in you. I saw you last week against Oklahoma. You were good. It's going to be a tough calling, though, to go to Stillwater and beat Oklahoma State on Senior Day.
Yeah, I get it. And Oklahoma State has really, Coach Gundy, their whole staff have done a great job from early in the year to transitioning to the way they've played. The back half of the year has been really impressive. So, but I'm going to take BYU because I have to have a chance to beat them and get OU into the Big 12 championship game. And, the way their quarterback played last week against OU, I was at the game, and I thought he was remarkable. And awesome. Running the football, throwing the football, everything that he did.
His accuracy, Coach.
Oh,
that
just
was
everything about him was really strong, and believe he can do it again. And if he does, it'll be a heck of a game.
Yeah, I'll say this. Coach Gundy, this has probably been his best coaching job from top to bottom to me. Looking at their roster, looking at that loss against South Alabama, and then seeing the way they won 5 games in a row, beat our rival Oklahoma. I mean, you've done a great job. I just hope they don't show up this week. Let's just be honest. Let's go BYU. Let's shock the world and win in Stillwater. Call UCF. See if you can get some film or something. Just kidding. But it's been impressive watching Oklahoma State.
Absolutely.
What they've been able to do.
No, they've done a really great job.
All right, out in the desert, you got another rivalry game. You've got Arizona at Arizona State. Who would have thought this late in the year that the Arizona Wildcats, when they started out the season, losing to Mississippi State, that they would be in the top 15 in the country and literally be 2 plays away from a really impressive record.
Good for them. Jed Fish and their whole staff out there at Arizona have done an awesome job, and they're a darn good football team.
Yes.
So good for them. I'd take Arizona in this game. I don't think it's stopping. When you've been starved that long, there at Arizona, they have something to prove.
Yeah.
And I don't see them letting up, and I see them, just continuing this because they're a really good football team.
And not to pick on Arizona State, but they are not a good football team. And I think a 10-point spread, I love Arizona in this game. I think they're going to do really, really well. All right, Florida State at Florida. Florida State only favored by 6.5 points, but this is a Florida State team that, while they are undefeated, they have been the cardiac kids the last 5 weeks. I tell you, if you're a Florida State fan, you probably have seen the cardiologist a couple of times because they have not been dominating the line of scrimmage lately.
No, and I think, of course, I have a little Gator in me through the years. 3 years there with Coach Spurrier.
National title there.
A national title. I'm going to go with Florida being, in the swamp. They have something to prove. Florida State's going to be without their quarterback. That always matters because he's a great player.
He is.
So I just see Florida having, something to, prove there. And I was in one of those games in, I want to say it would have been 97. They were number 1 in the country, I think, undefeated. And we were rotating quarterbacks, and we beat them at Florida, and no one expected it. And we beat them there for all those reasons. We had something to prove. We had 2 losses, not what they have now. But bottom line, there's a lot of pride in that program, and I see Florida showing up and playing well and winning this game.
It's heartbreaking to me, though, that Travis doesn't get to finish his career. Playing at Florida State with this injury. I know he's going to be focused on the NFL and recovery. I think that's a big factor. It's hard to have on-the-job training in a rivalry game like this, but I do believe that the talent gap at Florida State and Florida is that big. I think Florida State's going to find a way to win, running the football, probably becoming one-dimensional and just trying to stretch out that clock. But this point spread, as crazy as that 6.5, I think the Gators at home will do well on that spread.
Yeah, we'll see. But it's a big deal, and Florida's a prideful program, so I see them showing up, and if they don't win, it'll be a tight game, I believe.
Yeah, I agree. All right, Washington State at Washington. So Washington State starts off the 2023 season like gangbusters, undefeated, 4-0. Then they really fell apart there in the middle of the season. Now starting to get some momentum, some traction. This is a huge, huge game at Washington. Washington favored big in this one by 16 points.
Yeah, I think Washington's had too many tight games. They're going to win, but I don't think it'll be that big.
I agree.
With a rivalry game like this, and Washington State has played better here lately, so I would think it'd be a closer game, but I don't see Washington losing.
Yeah, I think
not at home.
Yeah, I agree. I think Washington's going to win the game at home on their senior day, but I think it's going to be really close. I think it's one of those things that you might flip on in the last 3 minutes, and whoever's got the ball last wins. I think Washington State's really going to show up, but I do like Washington at home with the win. All right, number 1, Georgia, minus 24, 24-point favorite on the road at Georgia Tech. And Georgia Tech's another interesting team, right? They play that game against Miami. They pull that miracle out. They do lots of things that you see looking really good, and then some other times you look and you're cringing when you're watching the film. And it's hard when you're playing a team as talented as Georgia.
And where's the game at again?
It is at Georgia Tech.
Wow. I see Georgia winning, but I see it closer than that.
Like 23 points instead of 24?
Yeah, they're going to win. They're going to win pretty big.
There you go.
They're strong
and really
not going away. So anyway, I don't know what I'd take with that many points, to be honest with you.
I like the points on this, and here's why. I think Georgia's going to win and dominate the game. I think you're going to get a lot of backups in there, and you got Georgia Tech going to play a lot of their older players. And it's just going to get right underneath that point spread.
Yeah.
So right around 23 or so points. All right, Clemson, interesting story. Struggled in that beginning. Obviously, the Duke game. Some questionable things happened to the Clemson Tigers. Then they started taking off. Favored by 7.5 out South Carolina. And this is a South Carolina team. A lot of expectations at the beginning of the year. They just have not lived up to it.
Yeah, that's hard to pick. They both have been a little up and down. Yeah. Being that it's at South Carolina, I'd take them with the points. I think Clemson will win, but I think it'll be closer than that.
Yeah, I just like Clemson. I don't know why. For some reason, South Carolina, and I feel sorry for Spencer Rattler. I know a lot of people are throwing things at him. He hasn't had a lot of time to throw the football.
Right.
I mean, there has not been exceptional blocking there on the line of scrimmage. I just think Clemson's a better team. I think they're a deeper team, and they showed me a lot in that Notre Dame game. I think they're going to come to play against South Carolina. All right, North Carolina at NC State. NC State is an underdog at home by 2.5 points.
I like NC State.
I do too. I like the underdog.
Yeah,
I like them to win outright.
Exactly, and they've had a good year. And I see them winning that game.
I do too. I think
being at home.
Mac Brown has done a great job building back up North Carolina, bringing the expectations out there. I mean, they've done a remarkable job over the last 2 years, but they haven't lived up to the expectations that people were expecting this year. And I just think NC State, go with the home team. I think if you were playing at North Carolina, I'd go with North Carolina. But I think the fact that they're on the road, I like NC State, especially with the fact that North Carolina is favored by 2.5. All right, our final game on the pick'em, Iowa State at Kansas State. Iowa State is an underdog by 10 points in this contest.
I like Kansas State. Yeah. They're strong at home. Last game of the year, and I think they'll do well.
Yeah, I like Kansas State. Again, this is a team that's gotten better week after
Right.
week after week. And I think that they're starting to play like we expected them to play all year round. I agree with you, Coach. All right, well, happy Thanksgiving to you. Let's go
Happy
enjoy the
Thanksgiving
game.
to
A big
everybody out
OU
there.
win on Friday. We need it, and hopefully some magic. If Texas can lose or Oklahoma State can lose, maybe Oklahoma can get there in the Big 12 championship game. Remember, for videos anytime, just tap on our video link. For the Hall of Fame football coach Bob Stoops, I'm Brad McMullen. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.